Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Wandering Road podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Unfortunately, Dean is not alongside with me today because he is out being a good father with his daughter at the zoo. So, hope he is having a good time. But joining us for today's show are Mary and Josh from the Unknown Project. Thanks for joining the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Oh, absolutely. I'm super excited to get this show started because I know I reached out to Mary on one of your live and you guys were talking about like paranormal investigations and everything like that. And then I reached out to you and was like, hey, you want to be on a podcast? I like talking to folks like yourself because I grew up in a haunted house. I've had paranormal experiences and my show is all about the paranormal. I'll just kick us right off. Mary or Josh, whoever wants to answer first. How did you get into the paranormal? Did you have paranormal experience early on that kind of hooked you in, or how did this all start for you?
Well, I'll start on this one. In the home I grew up in, I had a experience where I would hear footsteps coming up my basement stairs. And they're not, carpeted. It's a wooden step with just a rubber grip on it. So you can hear footsteps plain as day. Every night, I'd be lying if I said I remember exactly which time, but it was late. I'd hear footsteps coming to the top of the door or right to the door leading into the house, and then it would stop. I was really young. My first memory of that, probably 6, 7 years old. And then come to find out, when I was around 18 or 19, my family told me my grandfather took his life in that basement. So it really kind of struck with me. Was that my grandfather? Was I, just had an overactive imagination as a child? It definitely piqued my interest for sure.
For me, what really intrigues me into the paranormal world, I experienced a lot of death from young. Like everyone, like a lot of members of my family passed away, especially after my dad passed away. When I was 14, I was super interested that like there is something after besides like heaven and hell, because I was raised in church. Heaven and hell, that's it. No in between. If there's any spirits, they're not human. And I just did not believe that, because after my dad died, things were happening in the home. Like the cabinets would open, his recliner would rock. It was like his routine, kind of. It was definitely strange. As a teenager, you're young, you're dumb. It's like, hey, let's go do something. We would go to like a graveyard that was close to our home that was known to have some experiences. So we would do that.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've just always been interested. I've always felt things, I guess you can say. Like I knew things that I would have no way of knowing. So I just always have been interested. And then all the shows that, started coming out back in the day. The first was Taps. That was the first real show that was like, wow, people do believe too. And they're investigating, they're getting evidence that things do exist and there is an afterlife. So it just like piqued my interest more.
Right, that completely makes sense. Josh, coming back to you with the whole thing with the basement and hearing the footsteps and everything like that. You as a child at the time, how did you, if you could recall, like how did you rationalize that? Did anyone believe you at the time, or was it kind of like, no, it's just noise, don't pay attention to it?
Pretty much it seemed like everybody chose to ignore it. I told, different family members, and some probably chalked it up to, overactive imagination and whatnot. And other ones, I think, just kind of chose to ignore it altogether.
Right, that definitely makes sense. Like I was just recently visiting my father in Florida, and I know the man has experienced certain things like paranormal throughout his life because he's 61 now. I kind of cornered him. I was like, we lived in the same house. What did you experience? And I finally got him to, cough up an answer. And then it was kind of like what you just said. They just ignore it. It's like, I got other stuff to do. There's not much that I could deal with. It's really interesting that you had those types of experiences. Was there anything else that you guys encounter in your family homes or where you grew up?
Shadow figure in my mother's basement.
My grandmother's house, I was afraid of. It was a very old home, like in a small town along the river. My mom would tell us stories of things that she experienced as a kid, but that's why she didn't believe per se, because brush off, you didn't see it, you didn't hear it, nothing's there.
Nothing happened.
Right. That seems to be the mold a lot of the older generation.
Yes.
Now that I'm in my 30s and now that I like talk to my parents about this stuff, they seem to be more receptive. You'll
Yes, very much.
Yeah, you'll find that a lot of people, like friends, family, they're like, you know what? I did encounter some stuff, and it's kind of reassuring to hear that I'm not going crazy. Like there are other people that experience this stuff.
I guess with the older generations back then, if they would have admitted or talked about, they would have been looked at like they were nuts.
Yep.
But now it's everywhere, and we have social media where people are posting, oh, this happened, here it is. How can you say that it's not real? People are more open to admitting.
It's more socially acceptable,
Yeah.
more mainstream, I guess.
Now that it's kind of more mainstream, do you think it makes it more difficult for people like us that are actually interested in this topic as opposed to others that just do it for show? I personally think it makes it much more difficult for what we're trying to do. Like it's more easier for people to say to us, hey, you're bullshitting.
I would bring them to Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum for the night, and they'd be a believer by the time they left.
I will agree with you. It is a little hard for people like us, like smaller. We don't have a big producer, money backing us. We're just doing this on our own time, our own dime, just for the love of it and to learn. We are just that interested and just want answers.
No, I completely agree. It does make it that much more difficult. I used to watch, what was that show called? I think it was Ghost Adventures with Zach Bagans.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that show, like in the early seasons when it was just the three
Same.
guys and they would just
Agreed.
go to these different locations. And then like you get to season 5 and they have like a stakeout van and they have a whole camera crew, and it's like you just kill the entire vibe of the show, because I personally think they actually caught stuff on camera in the earlier seasons.
I believe so too.
Yeah.
And we agree. We're with you. The first
early.
few seasons were the best. I loved it. And then it's like, what happened? It seemed like very dramatized.
Yeah, there's a demon around every corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
Like, I used to respect you guys.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The whole demon. It's interesting that you say that, the demon around every corner.
Yeah,
Because-
went out to get the mail and there was a demon in my mailbox. Oh my God.
Yeah. The whole concept of like everything being a demon. I was talking to one of the guys that I podcast with, JJ from Southern Demonology, and we actually did an episode on his show where we kind of refute the claim that everything is a demon, because you have those groups of people, like different like religious sects of Christianity and stuff. They'll like, oh no, I have an alcohol addiction. It's the demon of alcoholism. It's like it's everything except your own behavior, like taking no accountability, using a demon as a cop out for everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my mother was
You're right.
there is no spirits, no human spirits. Everything's a demon.
It's the devil.
And I said, so what about the shadow figure in your basement? So you got a demon in your house? And that was the end of the conversation real quick.
speaking of that shadow figure, I'm intrigued by that. Like, what did it do anything, or was it just there? What did it bother you?
It was my cousin and I, we were at a family function. We were in the basement alone. It's a finished basement. There are windows, but there's blinds and everything set. My cousin and I are standing, just talking, catching up, and we see a shadow just go across the wall in front of us. Like, this had to have been 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, broad daylight. And we both turned around. Nobody's around. There's only one door to get in there, and we would have heard somebody coming from a mile away. And we both just stood there staring at each other like, did you just freaking see that? But there was no interaction or anything like that. I think at the time, I didn't even want to know what that was. I just kind of blew it off. What was that? That was crazy, but he can go about his business. I'm going to stay right here.
Because you deal with it every day. You don't want to.
Yeah, I lived there at the time, so.
Makes sense.
So it wasn't a one-time thing. It was, this thing was always around you.
No, I my cousin actually saw it house sitting for my mother later on. That was the only time I've seen anything in my mom's place. But my cousin used to house sit a lot when she would be out of town. And he doesn't watch shows or anything. And he said to me, he said, "Hey, cuz, your mom's house is really freaking haunted. I don't think I'm going to house sit again." And that's the first time I've ever, since we saw that shadow figure there years before, that's the only time spirits has ever come up in conversation between him and I.
Wow.
I don't think I would either.
No, I wouldn't.
Not alone.
There's footsteps, doors closing.
Yeah, no.
All kinds of stuff. I never seen any of it. I'm not the lucky one where they're very interactive with. They're starting to become more interactive with me, but they like to talk to Mary.
They do.
Oh dear. I got goosebumps now. See, I don't see. I dealt with my name being called. I dealt with doors slammed, and on one of my episodes, I think it was 75. I had Dean interview me, kind of to talk about what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the scariest thing for me was not the footsteps, not the door slamming, but whatever that thing was, mimicking my mom's voice.
Yeah, no, that's not okay. And that's scary. And it calling your name, both of those things, it's too personal.
That is quite personal.
Yeah, I'd say the worst thing, and I'm sure you guys have probably encountered this in your investigations, names being called and just voices. It called me, it called out my name in my mom's voice while my mom was home. And she heard it. So that makes it even worse. So it's okay, I'm not going crazy.
Wow. That is a very powerful spirit that wants you to know.
And your mom to know too.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, I have goosebumps after you said that.
Yeah. How did she take it?
Oh, and my mom's a hardcore Catholic. This one time she did a blessing, cleansing of the home, walks into a specific room and feels like something choking her to the point where she had to leave. It's just, that's why I can never do. I commend you guys for doing paranormal investigations, because I can never do that.
Oh, you could come along with us, man.
I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I don't want to say I'm a scaredy cat, but I'm scared, but I still do it because I want to know. But I also know my limits. When I feel I had enough, or I feel sick, or I just feel very uneasy, I tell him I'm leaving. I'm out. And if the exit's close, I'll just leave on my own, or he'll walk me out if it's further and he'll go back in. But you gotta know when enough's enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Definitely.
You see me running out before you run. I'll stand my ground with certain things, but there's two things I won't do that with: snakes and the paranormal.
Me
You're
too,
on your own.
I'm not a runner, but if I see a snake, I'm running. And Tala is the only place that has ever made me run before. So yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't even. She came running down a ramp.
I don't run.
And first of all, she doesn't run. Our friend Lexi that she's with isn't a runner either. And Corey and I, Lexi's husband, are standing there, and they can't put a sentence together to explain what happened.
You're blah, 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 trying to talk, and we could not talk. It was crazy.
Let's go ahead and segue into Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. First, I want to ask, how did your group start and how did you end up going to the Trans Allegheny Asylum?
Well, this is kind of ironic. During COVID, we were looking for different things to do. We both started talking after watching some paranormal shows on TV. I said, what do you think about going to one of these places? And Mary was definitely really interested in it. And we snagged a night vision camcorder, night vision binoculars.
Yeah, and like the basic EMF meter
And
digital recorder. I think that's it, right?
I believe so. And of course, we had no idea what we were getting into because our very first investigation was at Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. We did not know we were going to start right from the top.
No. And when you're starting out as a paranormal investigator, if you have nobody to educate you, all right, I need a night vision camera. You buy a night vision IR camera, you do not know, oh, wait, I have to buy all this extra IR light because, yeah, it's night vision, but these places are dark, like darker than dark. We couldn't see anything our first time there.
We were flying blind. Our equipment was getting drained. You got charged by something.
By the cooler in the geriatrics building.
That's a hot spot there.
Wait, charged?
Yes. So it's dark. We could not see. There was like this black thing. It was like up here and like came like this. I remember like I ducked and like I was like, Josh, like I got like in front of him, like moved him out of the way to get in front of him, and then it was gone.
Yeah, by the time I turned around, it was gone. So Mary went outside. I went back in alone, and I asked it to do that to me. He wasn't interested, I guess. I have no problem, like, seeing something. Unless it's malicious or we feel like some sort of a malevolent type feel towards it, we won't run. But if something's going to charge her, I'm going to push back.
And it scared me. It caught me off guard, and it completely scared me. I had this little grass hangout spot at Tala. It's in between the geriatrics building and the medical wing. So whenever I had enough, that's where I hang out.
That's what led us to the hallway. Are you familiar with Expedition X?
No, I can't say that I'm familiar with it, but looking it up here right now, it looks like something that I should probably watch.
You should.
They just spent, I don't know if it was 48 hours or 72 hours at Trans Allegheny. And her little grass spot is right outside of the hallway that their whole crew went running out of this place. I mean, 4, 5, 6 people as a group tearing off.
Yeah, like at Tala, we did get like a full body apparition. That's on like our YouTube and stuff. Josh got that on the full spectrum camera. You can see the bricks like through it. It was like a white coat, a nurse's jacket or something. We can't tell. And then a wet footprint. A barefoot wet footprint. No, I don't know. You've never been to these places, but these places are abandoned. You don't walk around barefoot. There's broken things all over the floor. There's water. I mean, they warn us there could be a raccoon. Like, you never know what's going to be in these buildings. And we even
could be snakes.
Right. Spiders. Who knows what? Try to recreate it with like our shoes, and no, it was a barefoot.
That and it was about 30 degrees outside.
I always forget that part.
You couldn't have paid me to walk around there barefoot to recreate that. That was definitely odd, to say the least.
And then every time, it never fails at Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, equipment malfunctions like you would not believe or even think of, and battery drainage.
Everywhere else pales in comparison to how our equipment's treated to there.
Yeah, like it's so intense. And then this last time, our third time's a charm.
It was.
I think was the most active, or maybe we had the best of equipment we've ever had going there.
A little
maybe a
both.
combination. There's tons of videos we put up. We caught so much audio that we did not hear with our own ears, laughing at us.
I got
like
shushed.
giggling. Yeah, Josh got shushed. Like he said something and it was like, shh.
You could clearly hear it was a woman telling me
It
I need to be quiet.
And we got like, I was like talking about equipment, but it said, what's that? Like I pulled something out because I was on a live, an EMF meter, and we caught like a male. What's that? And it's like, wow. But like the craziest, scariest part that I'm like scared of after going through the footage, after we like, whoa, this happened in sequence. So Josh has mainly been reviewing the footage because I'm the one that I do
a lot of the social
media accounts, and that's a lot. That's like a job itself. And
oh, I agree. I do the editing, I do the recording, and I do the social media. I hate every single second of the social media.
But so he's reviewing this and he's like, this is a shadow figure. And I'm like, what? Where? So it's in the basement of the medical building. And right after that is the grunt that I heard in real time there, but he did not hear it.
I heard it as something different. There's water dripping in this hallway as well, so it can get a little distorted. You know, you could be at one end of the hallway and I could be at the other. There could be a noise and we could both hear it a different way.
Yeah. But like we're reviewing this, and so we see the shadow figure, and seconds later, the grunt noise that I heard in real time. And you hear me say to Josh, did you fucking hear that?
Oh, hell no, I'm out of here.
And then you hear me like, I am out of here, not doing this. And I even kept a little bit of it up of me like booking out of the hall, out to my little grass area, my little safe area, because I was done. But for us to actually get the grunt on audio, I was so happy because it wasn't just me that heard it. But to know that, okay, wait, seconds before the grunt, there is a black shadow figure standing there.
And he could have reached out, or I could have reached out and touched it.
So that scares me. So, and I don't know what it is, but every time in that building, that hall, that's where I got chased, where I ran and couldn't talk. It does not want me in there. It chases me out every time.
It's the Joker.
You mind sharing how that all happened with the whole chase experience?
So the time he was staying with Lexi and I, so him and Corey were walking ahead of us. There was like in the middle of the hall, they have like a ramp instead of stairs because that's how they bring like the beds down. Yeah. So they were headed up to the first floor and Lexi and I were trailing behind. Out of nowhere, it was like something dark. It happened so quick. We both just looked at each other and took off running, like calling them. And it was a blah, 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 like we could not talk. And they're like looking at us like, what is wrong with you? Like, are you guys okay? And we're like, no, like something's down there. And that chased us out that time. And then this time, like it hurt, like a grunt noise, like right, it felt like it was right here this last time we were there.
Same hallway that the 3+ crew in Expedition X ran out. Same floor that she got chased, or was it twice?
And grunt.
And the grunt and the shadow figure. The very first time we were at Tala, we're just wandering around these buildings at the time. We still really didn't have much of a clue what we were doing outside of mimicking what we seen on TV, literally we wanted to find out if it was real or not. And we are going down this stairwell and we pop out at Mary's favorite grass spot. Well, at the time it was her first time there. And we sit down and we're talking, and I look across not really the street, but there's another building right next door, and you could see the red light coming from the exit sign out of the basement. I had no clue that we were going to be able to go investigate that building later on. I said to Mary, I said, I'm going to go over and check this out. And closer I got, the more I was going in. At the time, I didn't care if I wasn't allowed or not. I was just walking in. I walked through there, and as soon as I walked in there, I felt like I had eyes on me. Immediately, something was watching. I walked down the hallway. You know, nothing happened of note. Walked back out, and our tour guide showed up. I kind of told on myself, not knowing I was allowed in there. And he said, "You went in that hallway in that building alone?" I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "I will not go in that hallway without at least two other people with me. And he doesn't care if it's noon or midnight. He won't go in there alone." He told me a story of why, and this definitely gave me some chills hearing it. Said he was in there and they have to clear buildings at the end of their night just to make sure nobody's hiding out or nobody's lost or whatnot. And he's walking up that hallway, and out of the one door walks a shadow figure that stands in the middle of the hall, almost like an old Western duel, just standing there. And it started to walk towards him, and he was like, "I can't believe my eyes." He said, "I've heard noises, but I've never seen nothing like this quite, before." And then it got real bad. It dropped to all fours and went up on the wall. He said that's the last he saw, because he tore off running out of that hallway.
I would too.
He said he almost quit because of it. And he was there 7 years.
I don't do anything that crawls. Like, that freaks me out.
I wouldn't either. I have nothing but goosebumps right now. I'm the type of person that when I'm listening to someone talk, it plays like a movie in my head, so it just makes it worse for me.
You see this hallway too. This is darker than dark.
It's very intimidating.
Quite.
Because it's nothing but doors. And that's why I hate to, like, when you're walking down it, you're walking and it's like, all right, door my left, let's peek in. Door my right, let's peek in. All right, let's keep going a little bit. Like, I don't like it.
I've even started going down and having a camera on one side and my head turned to the other side as I walk down.
But you get it. Hey, I mean, it's good.
Either I see it or the camera does.
Yeah.
Look, I got my holy water now.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
See, I told you I couldn't go to those places. I'll wait outside. If y'all start screaming, I'll just unlock the car.
Press the life alert
You're our
button
getaway
for us.
car.
But what do you guys think that whatever that thing is? Do you guys think it's like an angry, like, former patient, or do you think it's something more demonic? I based off of what y'all told me, it sounds on the evil side.
I have a theory about it, and we're actually in the midst of setting it up so I can put this theory to the test. We've yet to have the entire property to ourselves. In a few months, hopefully, we will. I believe that it is a angry, tortured human spirit that's overcompensating and trying to portray itself as a demon, in my experience, most of the time, they don't want you to know what it is until it's too late, where this thing's almost broadcasting it. So I'm going to do an Estes session over a walkie-talkie in that hallway alone. I'm going to find out what it is. I might, spend most of the night there alone with it and see what happens, if I can pick a fight.
I'm indifferent. I feel it's dark just because I keep wanting to go back. I should not want to keep going back. But then I'm also curious and I want to know what it is. But is it like, okay, is it dark and it knows it's making me curious? You know what I mean? So I'm on the fence. I feel it's dark though. I do.
Yeah. Josh, before you do that, make sure you do a circle of salt around you.
Oh, I probably will do something like that.
We protect ourselves like we always do. That is one major thing. We sage, we pray, we wear rosaries. I wear certain gems. We do, because I don't want nothing following us home. That is like one thing. Nothing is coming home with us.
I don't want it because it'll drive her wild. To me, I'll just ignore it, or it'll get a job and pay rent if it wants to stay here.
Right.
But we definitely try to take precautionary steps, though, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not having nothing here.
or we have plan B to test this out, which I like this idea. as much as Plan A. We'll put a full court press on that entire floor and building. We'll collaborate with a couple other groups, bring them along, and there won't be a mouse farting without us knowing in that entire building. So if it's territorial, and it might get upset and lash out if it is darker. Mm-hmm. If it's a human, it's probably going to cower around that many people. It's going to hide.
Right.
I mean, these are all theories, so that's.
Yeah. Or you could take one of your friends that don't believe and just use them as a guinea pig.
I like that too.
I have a few ideas.
Oh, you don't believe? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See what happens.
No reason to be afraid.
Yeah. Don't make any plans. Don't worry.
My co-host Dean, we're gonna volunteer Dean because he's not here to say no. So we're just we'll fly him in from Hawaii and
love it.
We'll send him into
one
the
of the most haunted places in America.
Right.
It's has everything that every other place has, and then more of everything.
Yeah.
Almost is the feeling that at least we get there. Penhurst, you feel like you got eyes on you from the moment you get out of your car in a parking lot. It's almost intensified at Tala.
Yes. Yeah, Penhurst, and a lot of equipment and battery drainage at Penhurst too.
Yeah.
A ton. Penhurst is another awesome place to go to though.
Yeah, the only thing that's keeping us from there so far is we've been there, but going back, we want to do a private, but they will only do Friday and Sundays.
And we work.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We're
so it makes it so difficult.
Boat.
Especially because like after you do an investigation, you need like that day off. Like we usually do Saturday nights because that way we have Sunday to get home and recover to go back to work Monday. But it's taking a toll. Like I'm noticing through the years of us doing this, it's like harder and harder. Like it's like Wednesday where I'm like, all right, I kind of feel alive now. Like I'm caught up on sleep. And so doing a Friday or a Sunday, that's difficult.
Yeah, we're gonna have to really plan ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much with those things. They do thrive off of your energy.
Oh, yeah.
That makes complete sense. Because I did an interview with Dave, who's a paranormal investigator as well, with his wife. They're based out of Florida. They go to different locations. And he said, like, it'll just take them days to recover. He said, where did he go? I think he went to Hillview Manor, and I think that's on your list here. So we could segue right into that. He basically said that they went to Hillview Manor, and it took them what should have been a 7-hour drive took 17 hours because they had to stop so much being drained.
Oh my God. It's a paranormal hangover.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's real.
It is a real thing.
Wow. 17 hours though.
We rented Hillview out for was it my 40th?
Yeah, your 40th birthday.
Yeah, us and was there 7 of us there?
Yeah, we had a couple other people with. That place is on our list to go back.
Unfinished business.
We love revisiting places just because, either we have newer equipment, better equipment, or we had awesome experiences and want to experience more, or just we were left with more why.
Yeah, what else? Why did that happen?
But Hillview, we got
that awesome place. I caught a human figure on a thermal FLIR that Hillview has on their website still, I believe.
Their Facebook page.
It was 11 degrees colder, or was it 11 or 13? No more than 13 degrees colder than the air around it. And it was definitely freaky going back through the evidence, because at the time I worked second shift. So everyone in the house is, crashed for the night. It's quiet. I'm eating my dinner with headphones on, listening to audio, and, watching, the therm or whatever we had. And there it was. I said, man, that really, I'm wiping my eyes. Is that a person? And of course, I sent it to about 4 or 5 other people. And I said, tell me what you see. and let me know. I'm not going to tell you what I see. A few people, they didn't text back. They called. They said, that looks like a humanoid figure standing right there, and it's floating.
I think the next best piece of evidence from Hillview is the heart monitor that Josh got on a digital recorder. So the place has no electricity.
Except for the gift shop and
where like base camp is, but this was like back one of the hall where the rooms were. And you sat the digital recorder there for the whole night in the one room that was known.
Room 202.
Room 202.
And you'll love this because of Zach Bagans.
Yes.
Oh.
But the old, I think it was the old
Yes.
episodes, they got a heart monitor. And
no, they didn't. He had a conversation during broad daylight in a tour with a guy, I believe his name was Jim. And this place is unique where they still have the last patient that stayed in a room's name still up on, outside the door. He walks out into the hallway and there's a nameplate that says Jim. So I thought to myself, heck, I'll just drop a digital recorder in there for the night and see what happens. Usually you hear a whole bunch of nothing and us walking in the distance. 5-6 minutes in, starting to yawn. And all of a sudden I hear this beep, beep. And second shift, I'm tired. Said, no, I got to be hearing stuff. There's no way. That was, something else. And it happened about 6 or 7 more times throughout like a 4 or 5 hour period, I'd say. And it's clear as day. I said to Mary the next morning, Mary works in the medical field, said, tell me what this is. And she said, that sounds a lot like a heart monitor.
Yeah. Like, when you're at the hospital, like inpatient, you're hooked up IVs and the blood pressure and everything is just beep, beep, beep. So they know you're alive. That's what it was, the beeping. I could not believe it when I was listening to it. I was like, there's not even the machine there anymore.
There was
first of all,
a wooden table, a chair, and a bed frame. Where
is this noise coming from? There's no electricity. That was incredible.
Instant chills,
to say the least, when we got that, especially like the numerous times throughout the night.
Yeah, I couldn't even chalk it up to me being tired anymore. I heard it so many different times. I couldn't believe it. A white traveling mist that first, in the midst of the investigation, looking down the end of the hallway, pulled out night vision binoculars, looked, and it looked like there was a white mist or a white cloud like around the one exit sign. I didn't say anything. I just figured, just got here a few hours ago, getting tired. And then I see it like 3 or 4 more times. So I finally said to everyone, I said, can you guys look down there at that exit sign and tell me if you see anything? Like it's a white mist. Well, 2 other people seen it every time I did, and they didn't want to say anything either. It was, I have no way to explain that at all.
Yeah, that was different.
And this is where you spent your 40th birthday.
Yep.
That's one hell of a way to celebrate. I'll give you that.
Thinking outside the box.
Yeah. So looking at your list here, another one that sticks out to me, and it's titled The Ross House. You guys want to go into detail about that one?
Oh, all right. So the Ross House, it's not really well known. I stumbled upon it on Facebook. Somebody shared it that she rents it out for private investigations. So I sent it to Josh, and he was like, yeah, I don't care. Like, let's do it.
Check it out.
Because it's in Ohio. It's not that far from us. That place was incredible. The most interactive place that we've been to, like on demand interactive. Like it's an intelligent, I would say,
several
haunting.
Intelligent spirits.
Yes. But like when we get there for the tour, immediate activity. So we went down to the basement. And I was directly behind the owner, Cindy. Like, we're all in a line because we took the kids. So it was me, Josh, 2 kids, so 4. And then his friend came with us and his son. So it was just 6 of us. And we're all, trailing behind down these stairs. As soon as you get to the landing, you have like turn to do a couple more stairs. I stopped and I was like, "Did you see that?" Cindy was like, "What?" And I'm like, "There was a man standing there in the door because like so the basement is open when you come down the stairs. Then there's like a couple of stairs over farther and like a doorway and like a small room in the basement. There was a man standing there. And we caught on film, she has like wires and stuff hanging. Where I saw somebody, it was like rope and wires swaying.
Yeah, I couldn't
We didn't
explain
move it.
We weren't there to that.
Like we didn't
point in the
even get to
basement
that
yet.
side yet. So it was like, wow, like we're just doing our tour right now.
And
And
there
like
was
we
no like
have that.
windows or draft or anything that you could
No.
remember.
No, it was incredible. And then she said, like, there's a man that hangs out because she was giving us history. We didn't want a lot. We never like a lot of history about places, but she did say, well, there is a man that's down here.
And of course, I went back and looked around. Nobody was there. We definitely, when we do catch something, live in an investigation, I try to explain it in every way possible. Like I carry a level with us in case we see something move. I'm pulling out that level. That'll be the first thing I do.
Yeah.
And then after I am out of anything even remotely plausible, then we start chalking it up to, hey, what do you guys think that was?
You're very analytical. Like you will analyze, try. You definitely do more so than me.
Yeah, I'll keep toying until.
Or I'm like, no, this happened. It is nothing else.
And I'm like, no. Let me try this or try that.
So where we saw that shadow figure, Josh set up motion sensors in that doorway. It was a few hours later.
Maybe 2 hours
like
later.
after we were
still
up.
setting up.
Were we still setting the CCTV?
We were setting up the CCTV. And I actually was sitting at the kitchen table, the top of the basement steps.
The basement.
I was working on some piece of equipment. All of a sudden, the motion alarms go off, and it's dark down there. I was the last one out of the basement. Nobody walked past me.
We were all upstairs.
Everyone else was in other parts of the house, and it goes off once, and I'm like, all right, it was a mouse. It went off a second time, and then I started to remember that it wasn't on floor level, so it would had to have been a large mouse to set this off. 17 times did this thing go off as I'm sitting there, and finally I yelled down the basement steps, if that's you, shut it off right now. It went silent. I waited about 30 seconds and I said, can you make that go off again? Instantaneously. Turn it off. It went off. It did it a few times to the point where I called up to get everybody else to come down. And I sat at the top of the basement steps. I said, can you show my friends what you can do? Goes off. Said, shut off again. Boom. It did it twice in a row for them in like a 15, 20-minute span. It was never experienced anything that quick and unexplainable and intelligent.
Yeah, super intelligent. And also we caught an apparition on a full spectrum in the one bedroom, which was incredible. Like you can see, like to me, I see like a skull, like eye sockets, like where the mouth would be. Like it's crazy. It's a woman
behind a dress that nobody knows whose dress it is.
Yeah, so she has like, I don't know what they're called, like the almost, not a mannequin, but like the dress holders. And she has this dress on that was found in the basement, but they don't know whose dress it was that lived in the house. And this woman was standing behind it. It was crazy.
And there's about 6 inches behind that in the wall. So, and that was the same camera that caught the full body apparition at Trans Allegheny. I just walk around and snap 3-shot bursts of still photos, and they seem to show up in the UV spectrum a lot.
I love this full spectrum camera. Like, I love snapping photos.
I would get one of those, and then I would just start doing that in my house and never want to come back in my house.
Well, I don't use it in my house.
No, she won't let me.
That's the rule of mine. Like, when I built the spirit portal, I had to test it out, and it's like Like to make sure it worked because I built it. And it's like, that's like a major, I don't do this, but I have to.
You got to know if it works.
Yeah. So that's like the one time. But yeah, we don't use equipment in the house. That's a no-no. Because energy is everywhere.
It is.
And, you never know. Nope.
And one of the groups we collaborate with just told Mary about something following them home from Ohio State Reformatory.
Yeah, so I'm like,
And guess where we're going here soon? Ohio State Reformatory.
Do be careful.
We will be. That's long overdue because we were canceled.
We were running through a paranormal gauntlet, as we call it, where we hit Tala, Pennhurst, Fort Mifflin, Gettysburg.
That's my favorite place to go. We went to the battlefield at night once, me and my buddy.
Have you ever heard of the Grove in Gettysburg?
The Grove?
It's a secret. It's not a well-known area in Gettysburg.
Yeah, a longtime tour guide actually told us about it. It's there was I don't know how large the group was, maybe 50 men, Confederates that were, kept the Union pinned down and I believe they were out of North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, she said. They killed a ton of Union troops. Well, the Union troops wanted to take them out. They found where their encampment was, snuck in and killed them in their sleep.
Oh, wow.
And then dumped them into a mass grave.
Yep.
Is that grave still there?
Honestly, wouldn't mind getting a shovel and finding out. But
I think that's frowned upon.
But yeah. There's zoning laws and stuff like that against that.
Yeah.
Just go dig it. And every time we go, sometimes I can't even walk in because it's like a wooded area. Like you have to walk a road to get there. I get nauseous or I get dizzy or intense like head pain, and I'm like, I'm not even going in.
And I get nothing except for I caught Bambi on a therm. Got excited for a second. I heard steps and a twig break.
Yeah.
And there's Bambi. I said, oh yeah, that's the end of my night. Gettysburg is like a different feel for us every time we go there.
Yeah. Every time you get off the exit, we've noticed it, like the second or third time.
Mm-hmm.
That's like our to-go place for new equipment or just like a little mini session. And every time we get off the exit, sometimes it's dead, like ominous feeling. And it's like, oh, that's weird. It just feel the energy. It's weird.
Yeah, I enjoy walking around that place, like around, I'd say it's you probably feel the most intense energy like around like 6, 7 o'clock. It's just, it gets like quiet and
you can even experience stuff walking through town. So when I was there in May with my friends, it was, I don't know, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We were like on the street where Farnsworth House is. And we were just walking. It was a few houses down from the Farnsworth. We heard this loud, like, bang knock. And it's an empty, like, vacant home. We're like, did you hear that? We have no idea what it was. It was like, okay.
It's not like it was the winter, so you can blame it on like a pipe expander.
It was crazy.
I've been to Antietam. I've been to Gettysburg. I've been to Fredericksburg, Wilderness. Like, I'm a huge Civil War junkie, so I like going around.
Like Fort Mifflin.
Never been to Fort Mifflin.
Oh, it's definitely high up on our list of places that we enjoy going.
Yeah.
Fort Mifflin. What did you guys encounter there?
So one thing that I will never forget, unfortunately, we do not have it evidence-wise because we were still getting our gear out, unpacking. It was just Josh, myself, and my daughter, 3 of us, private, whole place to ourselves.
26 acres.
It's big, lots of buildings. We heard a woman, hello. We look at each other because besides me and my daughter, there's no other females. There was one guy, Josh, and then the worker was a gentleman, but he wasn't even with us, like
he was
outside of the base, like
300 yards away in a building.
We all look at each other and we're like, did you hear that?
We all stopped dead in our tracks.
Like, did you hear that? And of course, not captured, but that was like a great personal experience. Like hearing somebody I can't see, none of us saw, but we heard her say hello.
And it was clear.
That was incredible. And then I have a picture, Commandant's quarters.
Yes.
I've never gotten anything like this in my life. So after like we looked at it, because I always do 3 photos in a row. That's our rules. That way you can, oh, that's light, that's a bug. It's easy to see if something's fake or not there. But there was this big blue ball, like blue.
There's nothing blue in that building.
There was like near the fireplace, and the other 2 pictures did not have it. It was the second picture, and I'm like, what is that? Like, it was just like a turquoise blue too. Like, I have no idea. So we showed the the worker, like the tour guide, and he was like, Commandant's quarter. He's like, that place is a light show. And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, constantly colorful orbs are captured.
Different nights, it's like a laser
And
light show.
yeah, that's what he said. I was like, oh, because I've never in my life
seen anything like that.
We're funny. Josh is more funny than I am with orbs. Like, to me, if I say something's an orb, it has to be like see through a certain size. It's there, then it like gets bigger, something like that. It's not dust or a bug. So we were like, what? Like, this is an orb.
Yeah.
And then I looked into it. There are different color orbs and they have different meanings. I can't off the top of my head remember what blue was, but I think it was like something good, like peaceful, something like that. So that was really cool.
There's claims of the Commandant's children still being heard playing in there. So it's definitely not a negative feeling in that place whatsoever.
No, but my daughter's name was said in that room on Spirit Box session, which freaked her out.
Oh, no.
Like, because I remember before it happened, like, it's on a video, we have it up, and my daughter is like kind of antsy, like she's standing there like kind of like bouncing, like she was anxious, like something was going on, and then it said Ange, and I remember her face, she's like,
when we called it an evidence review.
Oh my gosh.
And
to verify, because like she thought she heard it, and we were like, oh, yeah, we did hear it.
You definitely heard it.
Because she used to, when we first started putting our footage up on social media, she was the one editing, because I know nothing about how to edit these videos and put them into one and make them look pretty and fun. So she was doing it and she was reviewing it. She's like, oh, it does say my name. And I'm like, yeah, it does. Sorry.
I like to pull her leg now and again with certain things. Not with evidence, though. I said, this is something I wouldn't toy with you about.
Yeah.
That fort was so talkative.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we were letting Mary ask a lot of the questions. Some of our EVPs we picked up there, and mind you, I'm the only man within 200-300 yards. There's, 15, 20 foot tall wall that's probably 10 foot thick.
Yeah.
So sound doesn't really travel into there per se or out. And Mary would ask a question and there'd be 6 or 7 voices jumbled talking over one another trying to answer her.
No clue what was being said, no way to filter it. It was just like everybody at once. Like, little kids all talk at once. It was like that. And it's like, I don't even know what they're trying to say, but yeah. That's
fascinating. Just listening to all of your stories here. Sounds like you guys have had a lot of luck with capturing evidence.
Yes, but we've also, these places, we've been to them multiple times because we've been places and got nothing. And it's like wasted our time, our money, like very left defeated.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than listening to 40 hours of nothingness.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's understandable. You ever go to a location and you're like, oh, I'm super excited to be here. Then you get to the location and it's like, we were kind of duped.
I don't want to say nowhere really strikes me where it was a huge letdown or, actually White Hill.
Our first time at White Hill, I felt like, what's all the hype about?
Yeah.
We left there like disappointed.
And drove home through a snowstorm.
Yeah. It was not fun.
I think we caught zero evidence, and the only personal experiences were during the tour. So the first half an hour you're there, everyone felt nauseous or had a headache in the attic.
I felt like an elephant was on my chest when I got up in the attic, like pressure, like I couldn't breathe. It was like the strangest thing. But yeah, we didn't get anything.
And we had to give it its fair shot, because these aren't, they are human spirits. You don't perform on demand. And so we gave it another shot, and we definitely caught some serious evidence. The second go around, of the craziest REM pod interaction. I've never had to pull batteries out of a REM pod before, because I didn't believe what was going on.
We've never had REM pod activity anywhere. We've had all these REM pods, and they've never gone off for us anywhere.
Real quick for the listeners, could you explain what a REM pod is?
Basically, it's a little, they can come in all kinds of shapes and sizes, but it's typically a little rectangular square box that has an antenna, lights, and a little alarm on it, and it creates a electromagnetic field around it. And when that field's broke, depending on temperature and how close to the antenna, the noise will intensify. The lights will, get brighter. As we were there, it was like something had its hand or was up against the antenna for about a half an hour straight, to the point where I thought this thing must be defective. Or something's going on. I tore the batteries out of it, went, got fresh batteries, had it shut off for a while, turned it back on. It went off again and kept going off. I think Chris from the other group we collaborated with, he did the same thing, kind of toying around with it, because he couldn't believe it. It was his actual REM pod.
Yeah. And
he said that that's the first time he ever heard it go off.
And then also up in the attic, my Hocus Pocus book REM pod that Josh got me, that went off too. And it's like, wow. And then the little cat balls, you were walking past the room, and you notice that they're going off in the room. Alone. It has glass doors, it's closed, and the cat balls are lighting up.
Yeah. And your Hocus Pocus REM pod, we had a CCTV camera on the other side of the door, so you can see that nobody's there. And I hit the top step, and you see Mary come in the frame.
Yep.
And probably 10, 12 foot away is the door into that other room
where the REM pod was sitting.
And it's going off. And we actually put a video up testing the sensitivity of that exact REM pod.
Well, we were heading up the stairs because you thought you heard something. Mm-hmm. That's why we were heading up. And I remember Josh gets up there, and I get up, and he puts his arm out to stop me because the REM pod's going off, and he wasn't sure what was there.
I knew something was there. I have no clue what. I just felt like we weren't alone.
Yeah. And the craziest part, I was actually doing a live on TikTok. Was it the second floor? I think
it was the second floor.
No, it was the attic because it had the table. I had my EMF meter, and I have this really good one that Josh got me. It's my favorite. It's digital. It only goes off for high energy fields. It has to be extreme for it to go off. I sat it on the table. It immediately got knocked off, and it landed on the floor, and it fell apart. That's how forcefully it got knocked off the table. And I remember it's on the live. I'm like, oh, I hope it's not broken this because it was expensive.
Oh yeah. And I know she wouldn't have just
that's my favorite
been
thing.
Showing off for how much
and then I
paid for that.
When I was picking up the batteries and stuff, I sat it back on the tables. I'm like, is this table on level? I did see that, and it wasn't on level because I sat it back in the same spot and it stayed there.
And I put a level to it myself later off camera.
Yeah.
And it is level.
Something knocked it off the table. I've never had anything like that happen until there. That it freaked me out. Both the kids were with me, and they were
her and the two kids.
Yeah.
And of
Sounds
course,
like
I'm
whatever
like,
that was is really rude.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, whatever this is, it's not staying here. It's not sitting on my table. I think there was like cards and like a doll and stuff on the table that I sat it on.
Forget what the name. There was a family that stayed there for a while. I believe it was the Stocktons, if I'm not mistaken.
That's your department.
That,
You remember all the history.
Yeah, that supposedly are real active on the second floor and, well, second and third floors, I believe. That home has a lot of layers of history.
Yes.
I mean, that's one thing we do look for, and I tend to target is layers of history on property, land.
Water.
Water running nearby is typically a good thing.
Why is that?
The water, the theory is it literally fuels paranormal energy, almost like a hydroelectric power plant is the theory. And I have nothing to prove it, but I have nothing to disprove it either. Just the few places we've been, like the Ross house is right on the Ohio River.
Yeah.
So that's when we really started to, wonder maybe there is a little bit to this theory. At least with our own personal experiences.
Always comes back to water. Have you guys ever heard of, well, speaking of water and paranormal activity, the story out of Latin America called La Llorona? Of the lady. Yeah.
I love the movies.
There was a clip on, I think it was Paranormal Caught on Camera, where I've never heard a woman scream this loud, where it's out. These, people were videoing this outside of an abandoned building, and you hear a woman screaming in Spanish, and I mean, bloody murder screaming. She, if that was someone that was alive, she was getting killed. They went in and couldn't find anybody, and the screaming persisted to the point where they found a dress. And I don't remember exactly how that ties in with La Llorona's story, but I faintly remember they burned the dress, and the story was that they had to bring in priests to basically shut her up. I don't know what they did.
That's just a scary story. I believe it too.
I got goosebumps right now telling you about it, because that was freaky loud audio.
Yeah, I'm half Hispanic, and my mom's Dominican, and she would, like, when I was little, didn't want to listen, didn't want to go to bed. La Llorona's gonna come get you. I'm like, okay, thanks. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'll tell you something about Hispanic and Latin people. They traumatize their children with paranormal stories. If you do not listen, there is some sort of paranormal entity that's going to come get you.
That is so scary.
So for me, early on, it's like it's a part of life and like the culture and how they teach their lessons. I guess it's kind of twofold. Kind of teaches you about the unknown from an early age, because I find here in the United States a lot of people are not receptive to the paranormal. You'll have people like us that we're a very niche group, but other people, they just don't really care about it. There's just too much going on for them to give a crap about this stuff.
Yeah.
That, or we have the people that had an experience and they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And they don't want to hear about yours either.
Nope. And they're like just out of sight, out of mind, just not there.
And of course, that strikes my interest, because, geez, what could have upset them that badly to where you don't even want to hear the word spirit or ghost?
Just shut down.
Have you guys encountered a lot of people like that, or do you know people personally that are?
I know some people like that, that they're just like, no, I don't want to talk about it.
Yep.
Don't want to hear about it.
And they're fairly close friends, a few of them. We pretty much can talk about anything. And this is a no-no. They don't want to talk.
For us, because we're so intrigued and curious, and we do this on our free time, it's like, what happened that you're so just shut down? But you can't push it, so.
Yeah.
But it just makes us wonder.
One day, if they want to tell us, they will. And I'll be
Yeah.
definitely waiting to listen.
Oh, definitely. And yeah, that's kind of why I do this show. That's like my biggest thing, because there's so many paranormal shows out there. I know they're like a dime a dozen, but the whole point of me doing this, and I love having people like yourselves on, is that you're in a space where no one's going to judge you. You're not going to be called crazy. No one's going to be like, oh, you're wasting your time with paranormal investigations. To me, all of that stuff is valid. And I personally think it's really important for people to share what they experience, because it takes a toll on you, like with anything that you keep to yourself. I personally believe.
Yep.
No, agreed,
I
totally.
agree.
That's why we started sharing our evidence, because I don't know how it popped up. It's like, we're doing this, but the stuff just sits.
It's just for our eyes.
Like, let's get it out there. So we started the YouTube first in February,
Mm-hmm.
and then we started the TikTok and Insta like May, June. Cause like, yeah, like we're going these places, we're experiencing these things. Let's do something with it. Let's make it out there, more evidence just from other people to validate it more.
That I'm interested for people to, if you can debunk something that we caught and it not be an outlandish explanation, because I do hear some, when people try to debunk stuff, it's like, you're fairly intelligent. There's no way you believe what you just said was the cause.
No, I agree. To me, those people are just facetious, because
Yes.
one, they're scared.
Yes.
I mean,
Yep.
I mean, it's okay to be scared of it because you can't see it.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is. And two, I think the biggest thing that you will find with people is that they don't want to challenge what they believe.
Or what they were taught.
And what they were taught. Because if what I just saw contradicts what I've been taught my entire life, that spirits don't exist, this doesn't exist, and then I freaking see La Llorona walking down the banks of the Ohio fucking river.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'm gonna start questioning shit. Like, I'm not.
And that's the thing. Like, we're so open minded, and that's what, like, you're so open minded. Like, I love that about you. And like a lot of people we've met from like sharing our stuff too. Like, we're meeting people like us that are very open minded and open and have opinions, but also like, oh wow, maybe your perspective. I like that better than mine. Like, it's good to have people to communicate with.
Oh, yes. Networking.
Yeah, like regarding this stuff and just bouncing like ideas and just knowing, because I don't know, every day, if you're surrounded by closed minded people, to me, it takes a toll on me because I'm so open minded.
That, and there's just, for us or anyone to believe that we know everything about this world inside and out is, to me, I hate to say this, but lack of intelligence, that you think that we know everything. No way.
I completely agree, because I personally, I went through a couple of phases in my life where I come from a mixed background, that I'm half Indian and half Dominican. Could only happen in New York City. So like from a very young age, like my grandmother was a devout Hindu, so I was exposed to that type of spirituality and culture.
Wow, okay.
And my mom is Catholic. I'm Catholic. My mom's a devout Catholic. I wouldn't say I'm a devout Catholic. I'm an okay Catholic. But I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine where they're kind of on the spiritual side, but they were asking questions like, with what you do and you being like a historian and interested in all these religions, how does like what you do with your paranormal podcast affect your faith? And I'm like, it really doesn't. It doesn't change what I believe. I'm just open to the idea that there's a lot more.
Yeah, everything doesn't fit nice and neat into a little box.
Exactly.
There's definitely lines can get blurred, and that's a very interesting combination, because when you told me Hindu and Catholic, I was thinking Jinn versus Demon cage match as soon as you were saying it.
Yeah.
My mind started, wandering. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jinn are Islamic. Hindus have
Mm.
much more terrifying demons.
Oh,
Really?
please enlighten me.
So
I love to learn.
there's so I wish my cousin was on here because he's more Hindu than I ever was or would be. He's like super into that stuff. He actually follows the religion. But there's the Hindu gods are called the Devas, and the demons are called the Asuras. And there's the heavenly realm, there's the realm that humans occupied, and there's the demon realm. If you look up depictions of what the followers of Hinduism think they look like, they're just terrifying. They're blacker than black with deep red tongues and multiple arms and all these different types of things. And even their deities, some of them are very, very terrifying. You ever watch Indiana Jones with I think it's called the Temple of Doom, where they're like Kali Ma, Kali Ma?
Yes.
Yeah.
Classic.
My grandmother had a picture of that deity on her altar. I saw it for the first time as a kid, and that has haunted me for the past 30 years. Just the image of it, it's just so terrifying.
If the gods look like this, then what do the bad guys look like?
Yeah, the same or worse. But you mentioned Jinn, and I've always been fascinated by Jinn on YouTube, and you'll come across this on TikTok of former servicemen that actually served out in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they talk about certain encounters that they had. I would love to talk to one of them just to hear what they have to say about that topic.
Didn't we watch something about Jinn or something?
I don't know.
Like
I
that?
don't like to watch, honestly,
Yeah.
when shows come on that have the W word or Wendigo or Jinns. I like to stay away from that because that stuff scares me.
Oh, the Wendigo.
Yeah, because stuff like that, it's not our religion, so we can't really get rid of it. You know what I mean? So I don't even like to. It irks me differently. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
I'm of course curious and want to go see.
I'm always fascinated by those different types of things, because there's, like you said, to respect that you don't like it, I'll call it the W word. People have seen those. And then when it comes to Jinn, you don't hear about someone haunted by Jinn in New York City or Boston or Los Angeles. But you go to Saudi Arabia or the Middle East, and people have evidence of them. So I've always been fascinated of how this all works. Is it something with our collective psyche that manifests it?
Right. And that's why I'm I'm not I'll sit there, but I try not to hear too much because it's just too much for me. I don't know how to comprehend it, I guess, or understand it well enough. So I don't want to know a whole lot. But yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. We did an episode on the W's and skinwalkers. And I would say skinwalkers scare me more.
Yeah, because you can't do anything if you have an encounter with one or one's bothering you because it's the Native American. You have to have a shaman. Where am I finding a shaman? Do you know what I mean?
Right. There's
did you ever watch the show Dead Files?
Yes, I have. That was one of my favorite shows.
Me too. That came on so many years ago. And I remember some episodes where she's telling them what they need. And it's where do people find this? It was be a shaman or a male warlock and stuff like that. I'm what? So stuff like that, it's that's a whole other world of hauntings. You know what I mean? Where you need all these different pieces to get your home back.
Right. And I think that's where people, I guess, would struggle with it, in the sense that not everything is demonic in the Christian sense.
Right.
And I always say when I refer to demon, I refer to something harkening back the Greek definition of a daemon, of a very powerful spirit, some sort of elemental that is not of this world, never was human, never will be human, a preternatural type of being.
We hear a lot more stories about like elementals in England, for example, just older land. Maybe Lep Castle, I believe, was the one. Ghost hunters, when they went over there, one of them got knocked to the ground.
That would be fascinating to go. I want to go to those places, Europe, Italy, so bad. Like the old places. Maybe one day.
Yes.
We're going for more than just ghost hunting, though.
No, I'm going for history. I want to go to some of these castles.
Me too.
Castle from the 1200s.
Yeah, like imagine like older places. Yeah, like I think they would be so much more than places we go to here in the United States.
If you guys listen to my episode 50, I interview a friend of mine who lives in Ireland, in rural
I did not
Ireland.
listen to that one.
Episode 50 with Trev Downey. He tells some interesting stories, and he mentions that like he's surrounded by farmland, and he's like, there's these places that are considered quote unquote fairy forts where the fairies live. And he's like, the farmers they won't dig up the trees, they won't touch anything that is related to fairies. And that's been around for like centuries. They will leave that stuff alone.
And I find that fascinating. We watch a show on that, and I'm like,
lines.
Really? Like fairies? And I'm like, okay, all right.
Not the typical fairy from Walt Disney.
No,
that we think
not
of
Tinkerbell.
No, not Tinkerbell. Maybe Tinkerbell when she's angry. That's the closest you'll get to that.
Yeah, like that is fascinating to me. Like I love the different like legends and just all the different beliefs. Like it's interesting.
If you guys had to pick one place that you would investigate, equipment wasn't a problem, money wasn't a problem, and time wasn't a problem, where would you guys go?
I already know yours.
Well, I'm thinking outside of the continent.
Oh, okay. You're thinking anywhere, money and equipment.
Yeah, I'm thinking, what is Dracula's castle? I forget what the actual name was, and shoot, I forget what that is. But I'll go with the Hellfire Caves over in England. That's a place on my bucket list. Or the catacombs in is it Paris? I believe.
Yeah, Paris. The husband of the guns that kept building and building.
Oh, the Winchester Mystery House.
I want to go there.
Oh, the Winchester. Yeah, the Winchester Mansion. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't think of Winchester. I want to go there so bad.
That's how she explains movies. She wants to watch.
Very vague.
Yeah. Very bland, and somehow
I need him to do it tonight. Me and him guess.
Before we close out the show with my last few questions, were there any other locations that you guys wanted to share your experiences about before we end?
We could talk about Moundsville.
Moundsville, we just had the main highlight, which would be the Sugar Shack.
Yes. Basically, if it was raining outside, the inmates in Moundsville would be allowed to go in. It's almost like a sub basement that you can walk from the yard into. And the stories are the guards wouldn't even venture down there. There'd be 200 plus free inmates in a closed environment. So, of course, we had to do a spirit box session down there. And there was at least one very, very intelligent spirit. There was a lot of, I found it, beautiful, like graffiti on the walls.
They were talented.
Yeah, somebody
spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, somebody had some artistic talent, and I said, I don't know if you're here or not, but you really had some skill. Why did you wind up here? And you hear a thank you right away. That was quite freaky down there, though. I could tell
Yeah.
Mary was getting
I was
uneasy.
uncomfortable. Like they had like the concrete beams. I sat on the floor with my back to a beam, like just sitting there looking left and right because I just felt like eyes.
Yeah, I felt like we were surrounded.
Yeah.
We were definitely not alone.
Yeah.
We asked what happens down there. We got a response that was similar to Fort Mifflin, where I heard several voices yell. Then I think we were down there for maybe an hour.
Yeah. We
Of
stayed down there.
asking questions, and we got a few intelligent responses, but a lot of unfinished business with Moundsville.
Definitely that's a place to go back to because I want to visit the mound too. We didn't get to visit the mound while we were down there. So many people at once were trying to communicate where you couldn't make out who was talking, what they're saying, anything. It was very talky. So that's definitely another place we have to get back to.
And we have a few new places that we're
Next year,
definitely
hopefully.
gonna get to. At least Waverly Hills Sanatorium next year. We're going to do, hopefully, if it works out, Tala and Waverly back to back. So I can settle for myself what I feel is the most haunted building in America.
No, that's fair. And I think you should take me up on getting Skeptic with you. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
just
we'll
putting them in that room.
basement.
Or they can spend the night in Bobby Mackey's with me.
Oh, no.
Oh, gee. No. Didn't they tear that place down?
I thought they were going to. I read that.
They did tear it down, but I think they're rebuilding.
That's bad news.
Yeah, something's going to be upset.
Like you can't, if you get rid of the building, you're not getting rid of it.
Nope. It's free if it's not bound to the land, or it'll be there for forever if anybody wants to build on it. But that was going to be a little challenge locking me in there for the night alone.
Oh man, I commend you for that. I really do. Dude, I lived in a haunted house, and even I don't want to do that.
I figure I could, in that type of situation, I could come out with some evidence that no skeptic is going to be able to argue with.
I'll come with you if you supply me a 6-pack.
Done.
We'll make it a case.
We'll get a keg.
Come to Hillview. You can meet us at Hillview.
Right? Yeah. We'll get a keg just to make sure I'm comfortable.
Get you nice and relaxed.
After you get relaxed, you won't care if doors are slamming or anything.
Like y'all hear that. What are you talking about?
Y'all will walk in and just see me hanging by my foot, like in the air or something, just emptying out my pockets.
Oh man.
That's so
like, there's the evidence for you.
Oh my god.
How do I turn myself upside down and float?
I got 2 final questions for y'all before we end for the night. So my first question is, going into an investigation, what is your biggest fear?
Equipment failure.
For me. Equipment failure. That's fair.
Because if it happens to us and we can't, document it, it's great to have the personal experience, but it'll only be that.
All right, my greatest fear, I think I'm normal, is something following us home.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. That was a good curveball there, Josh.
He's not afraid of anything.
No, I'm more afraid of the cost to go to some of the places than what's there.
No, that's true. That's true.
Oh my god.
Some of them are quite astronomical.
They are, unfortunately.
Like Fort Delaware.
Yeah.
Out on an island.
I don't like that though. Like you're there, as you take a ferry, you're stuck.
They drop you
like,
off. No,
I'm not okay.
Is there no security or nothing that stays with you? Or
I'm not sure, but like I don't like the idea that I can't go in my car and leave if I want to.
That's what really intrigued me.
So I mean, you can go. I just don't think I'd be down for that. You're not dropping me off on a boat. We'll come back for you in the morning. No.
I'm gonna have to work every Saturday for the next year with overtime to be able to pay for that place alone.
Oh man.
I'm pretty easy to convince. I'll say no, and you're like, "Come on." I'm like, "Okay." Like, all right, I guess.
Twist my arm, why don't
That's
you?
so funny.
Yeah. No one's going to call me a coward. But
She actually did that to one of my buddies on an investigation.
Not intentional. I was joking, but
She said, "Oh, you're not going to go?"
in the basement.
At the Ross house. I said, you really going to challenge my friend's manhood like that? Of course he was going to go, but I think he was scared. Don't push him.
He
yeah.
went.
He went, though.
He was like, okay.
Peer pressure.
Oh, that's the quickest way to get us to do the stupidest shit possible.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I was like, I'm going down. Why can't you? I said something like
I
that.
said, I'm going. Why won't you?
My wife does that to me all the time. But I never give in when it comes to kayaking. I'll never do that.
Well, ocean kayak.
Yeah.
Mm.
The bay.
Well, and she says,
I won't even go on like an ankle deep river kayaking.
Oh my gosh.
well, she likes kayaking, but I took her kayaking on a bay beach. There's no waves.
Yeah.
We could see the bottom, and it was about, at first she was worried, and I just stuck my leg out of the kayak and put my foot down on the sand. I said, it's not even at my knee.
Yeah.
My final question for you both. What would you say to anyone listening today or tonight or whenever they listen to the show that are skeptical about paranormal investigations?
Well, I definitely respect people to have their own opinions and own beliefs, of course. And, some people, if you haven't gone to one of these places or didn't grow up in a situation like yourself or myself, they haven't really been exposed to it. But don't be so closed-minded that there are things out in this world that we can't see or necessarily touch. Before you doubt that something's real, you might want to put boots on the ground and take a look for yourself. You might be surprised what you find.
I really like your answer. That answer I really like. It's normal. I'm kidding.
Oh, come on. I'm definitely having a little bit of fun. Of course, we're shooting the shit.
I'll say the same. Like, definitely, maybe try to have an open mind, and it's okay if you don't believe in it, but at least look at the evidence and try to come up with a solution of what it is if you don't believe in it. But also, don't knock us for what we do, because that is one huge thing with me. If you don't like it, keep scrolling. You don't have to hate. You don't have to agree with what we do. But, it's not going to hurt to be open-minded and, they do this. I wonder why. Just have an open mind.
No, that's well said, both of you. And I completely agree with you, Mary. Josh, Mary, thank you so much for being awesome guests tonight. Your stories gave me goosebumps throughout. And so where can our listeners find your content and if they want to reach out to you guys?
So the Unknown Project, we're on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Awesome. You heard it there, folks. Go ahead, give them a follow, check out their content. And I'm super excited to see what other locations they are visiting in the future. And when you do visit those locations and compile your evidence, I would love to have you back on to discuss them again.
We'd love to come back
Yes,
on.
we
That'd be
would.
awesome.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, folks. Thank you so much to Josh and Mary of the Unknown Project. And thank you to everyone that's listened to today's show. Hope you have a great night and a great weekend or whenever you listen to today's episode. Thanks for tuning into today's episode of The Wandering Road. You can find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, and most podcast platforms. Be sure to subscribe and share. Also, don't forget to give a follow on Instagram at twroadpodcast and follow my TikTok at twrpodcast. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.